Hey guys and gals, and welcome to another video from the team here at BlenderTech.com. Don't forget to like the video and to subscribe for daily Blender, Unity 3D, coding, programming, and all sorts of other videos. Lastly, don't forget our motto, create your way. So today I'm going to be showing you just very quickly how to use the light path node right here to create very realistic glass, because not a lot of people even know the node or the light path node exists, especially older users, because it was introduced in 2.65a, I believe. So it's a fairly recent addition. Anyways, it is very powerful when you really understand how to use it. Now, I don't fully understand how to use it. I understand how to use it for certain things like glass, for example, but I don't know how to use it for everything. But I'm going to show you how to use it to make very realistic glass. So you can see here I have two glass planes. They're exactly duplicated, and you can see that it looks extremely realistic. There's a little bit of shadowing from the objects on top of the glass. There's a tiny bit of reflection of them. There you can see the object beneath it, and there's a little bit of refraction, but very little, because this is a fairly it's an extremely flat plane of glass. And if we try to catch the glass right at its edges, you'll see that it darkens in certain areas and it lightens in others where it catches the light differently. So that is all due to the light path node. So I'm going to show you these two panes of glass to show you the difference. So the one on the left is going to be our realistic glass, and the one on the right is going to be your standard way of creating glass quickly that most people do. So I'm going to delete the light path node from that, and then I want to show you the difference. So I'll be right with you. Actually, before we do that, I'll just simply show you the before and after. So this is how your glass would look without a light path node, and it looks okay, but it's not realistic at all. And if you go like this, whoops, this is the after, extremely realistic looking glass. So anyways, I am gonna go edit that. Okay, so we have this plane, well, this object on the right here that is our glass plane, and we want to turn it into glass. Well, it's right now. It's just it's an object with no material. Well, with a material, but with no color, no nothing. So how would you turn it into glass usually? Well, this is what most people do. One of two different variations. So what they would do is they would say, okay, it's glass. What should I do? Well, I'm gonna add in a. Oh, hey, look, there's a glass shader. I'll use that. So they take it, they plug it in. The factor would be 1. I wouldn't be using a mix shader, but I just have it there for now. Or no, sorry, the factor would be 0. So they say, hey, there we go. That's kind of cool. I have perfect glass. Awesome, I'm happy. But you're saying, well, okay, what the heck? I have all these weird reflections. What's going on? Actually, I will unmute this. So you say, oh, okay, whoop. So you say, okay, it looks realistic enough, but there's all these weird reflections, and the edge is catching the light very harshly, and you can't see the rug beneath it very well. It's not really refracting on it as it should 100%. It looks good. I'm happy with it, but it's not perfect. So they think, okay, well, what is glass as a material? Let me think about this, because when I make materials, I think about, okay, how does this material work? Is it glossy? Does it scatter light? Does it absorb light, etc.? So okay, well, glass is transparent, so maybe I will add a transparent shader. So they go and they add a transparent shader, and this is what a lot of people do. This is what I've done. This is what I do. They add it in, they play with the factor, and they go, okay, well, that's completely transparent. That's just gone. So we need to use a little bit of glass with some of the transparency. So they try to get the value right, but you can see that you're on a very fine line where you can go like 0.9 is the same as before, but 0.95 and it's basically almost disappeared. So they try to play with that and can't really get it right. So they go, okay, maybe I'll add a shader and see if that makes a difference. So they take an add shader, put the two together, and they say, okay, that did absolutely nothing at all. That looks horrible. So they change the add shader to a mix shader. So yeah, they say, okay, well, whatever, that's good enough. It's catching the light on the edges. I can see the edges of the glass. It looks like glass. I'm happy. But they say it doesn't look 100% realistic. You can see the edges of the glass, and it shouldn't do that. It should look dark there. And they go and look at a piece of glass, and they say, yeah, the edges should be dark, and there should be some shadows and refraction going on, and that's not quite happening. And it's quite reflective too. You can see it's reflecting the glass, it's reflecting the ceiling, everything. There is refraction going on slightly. You can see everything's off a little bit, which is good, but it's not perfect. So this is where the light path node comes in. This is where the magic happens. This is how you make realistic glass. I'm not going to go into extreme detail about it. I'm just going to show you how to make realistic glass with it. So let me unhide it. So you have all these different options: is camera ray, is shadow ray, diffuse, glossy, singular, refraction, is transmission ray, ray length, ray depth, transparent depth. Now there's some really cool ones in here. So like ray length, for example, that takes the light path that is emitted or bounced or whatever off of this object and lets you play with it. So you can do some really interesting things with that. Like, for example, let me take ray length and plug it into the factor. And let me change transparency color to like a blue. So you can now see that depending on where the light is hitting, it either is the glass's white color or the blue color of the transparent shader. And overall, it's still glassy and transparency. So different things. So yeah, there really is some interesting things that you can do with these different values. You really just have to play with them. For example, is glossy ray, that would take any gloss rays that, if you have something that's glossy, all the gloss light rays that basically bounce off of it and make it glossy, you can change them, and you could adjust the color, you could adjust the hue and saturation, you could turn them into, I don't know, you can make them do all sorts of crazy things. But anyways, to make realistic glass, what you do, I'm going to turn this back to pure white, is you use let me bring this down, add in another mix shader, and so you want shadow ray over here into factor is shadow ray. So it's going to take any places that are shadowy is going to do this in the mix shader. And you're also going to take is diffuse ray, and you're going to is diffuse ray, and you're going to plug that into the factor of the other mix shader. Whoops, I must have these backwards. I actually don't use glass a lot, so yeah, I have those backwards. Come on. So yeah, diffuse goes into the factor of your first mix shader, I guess, and shadow goes into the second. Then we just connect these together, and you'll see, bam, we have, oh yeah, it's perfectly transparent. What happened? That's because this is perfectly white. So we'll go back to 0.8, which is the stock value, and you play with the setting till you got what you want. So this doesn't look exactly like the other one. I didn't make a perfect copy of it, but you get the general idea here. Basically, what it's saying now is that any shadow ray is going to be the factor between the transparent and the glass shader. So where there's shadows, it's either going to be more or less, there's either going to be more or less shadowing. And the diffuse ray, so where there's any kind of color at all, it's going to be the second mix shader. So it's going to mix in the shadows with the diffuse, and this is all mixed together. And then it's finally going to put it into your output. So our final one was like this. So yeah, the shadow ray into your mix shader, diffuse ray into your other one. And so that takes the factors, it takes basically the ray lengths as your factors between 0 and 1. Your ray length is either 0 or your ray length is either 1. And then you have your glass shader, and the color is perfectly white, almost perfectly white. And your transparent shader, and the value is again about nearly the stock value of 0.8 on all the values. And yeah, you have this really nice looking glass. And if you wanna make it give that blue tinge that you would expect from, and you want to make it look a little more cartoony, yeah, you would give it a slight blue tinge if you wanted to get that kind of impurity glass. Not like there, about there. So yeah, you get that kind of blue glass that you would see maybe in an office or something, that kind of makes it stand out. So you can play with that. And then you can take your transparency and you could do the same thing too. You could go and you could give it some blueness or some warmness. You could warm it up a little. And you'll see now that all the yellow colors are kind of highlighted in certain areas where the diffuse ray is playing around with it. So if I turn this to red, you'll see now anywhere that there's diffuse, where there's color, basically it's factoring that transparency in. So it's saying, okay, the diffuse ray, okay, there's color hitting the glass here, so we need to play with the transparency, but the transparency is red, so we're gonna mix it together with redness. So anyways, that's just how to make and play with glass and make it realistic, and how to get the effect you want and to make realistic glass very quickly. Basically just a transparent shader. Just gonna go for a quick overview. Transparent shader that's basically pure white. Glass shader that's basically pure white, all to stock settings. And then you take your light path node, I'll just move it into view here. You take your light path node, and your shadow ray goes into the factor of the mix shader. Your mix shader goes into another mix shader, which the factor takes the diffuse ray, which goes into your final material output. And you can make the glass rough, so you can still use the stock glass settings, which don't work well on their own, but when you add in the light pathway, they work well. Whoops, my color went back. I want that back to white. So yeah, you can make it look like frosted glass with a little bit of roughness like that. Well, it's totally rough. But you can make it like slightly frosted, so that's how you get frosted glass, very realistic looking. And you can also play with the index of refraction to make it really refract things. Now we can like see the lines and stuff in it, but we can't see the things below it. Or we can turn it all the way down, and now we can see everything below it perfectly, but we can't see any reflections. So glass has a stock pure glass is 1.5 index of refraction. Just a little fact for you. You can also Google index of refractions if you're using a different material or you want a different kind of glass like crystal or whatever. So if you wanted frosted glass, this is how it looks with the light path ray. But if you take that away, come on. Okay, well, apparently that's not going to work. It's going to be quicker just to join those. Okay. So yeah, you can see before, it looks nearly the same, but not quite as realistic. And in a more complex scene, it's really going to make a big difference. Anyways, that's all for now. Thanks for watching from the team here at BlenderTech.com. Again, that's BlenderTech.com. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, please like it and don't forget to subscribe for more Blender, Unity 3D, programming, Photoshop, and all sorts of other videos. We also now offer hard copies of our videos if you don't have a YouTube downloader. So if you want a copy to download on your computer, just let us know and we'll upload it to our server for you. If you dislike this video for some reason, don't just hit the thumbs down and leave. Instead, leave a comment or email us at info@blendertech.com about what we can improve on and what you did not like. That way we can constantly improve on our videos based on your user input. So, we also take requests for tutorials, so let us know what you want or want more of. By the way, we're now on Twitter at twitter.com/blender_tech, so that's at blender_tech, and we're also on Facebook at facebook.com/blendertechpage, all one word, facebook.com/blendertechpage. Again, see you next time. Remember, create your way.